everybody. So I wanted to talk today about communication and human relating. I'm going to talk specifically a lot about parenting, but just know that when I'm talking about that it completely applies to any human relationship. Basically what I'm talking about is healthy communication, healthy relating. So I am somebody, as I've mentioned before, who studies a lot through the years and reads a lot. And so, of course, that was no different when I became a parent 14 years ago. And I began, actually even while I was pregnant, I just began, reading. And that has kind of tapered off through the years, as I would sometimes get fed up at some of the learning process and be like, at first I'd be really gung-ho about it, like, yes, okay, this is going to be great. And then I would try it and I would fail a lot of the times, or it just wouldn't be like it said it was going to be in the book. Or basically, I think what I was struggling with is the learning process and realizing that learning is not graceful. Learning is never graceful, and it is often very awkward. And so what spurred this video is an interaction I had with my younger son, Ethan, this morning. So just wanted to show something for a moment here. These are some parenting books that I have, that I've read. Not completely. I mean, some of them I haven't even, actually one I'm looking at, I haven't read at all yet. And some I've read parts of. Actually, as I'm looking at these, I'm like, I don't know if I've actually read any of them cover to cover. But definitely read, parts of, and some I've almost read entirely. So anyway, my most recent one that I'm reading is this one. It's called Parent Effectiveness Training by Dr. Thomas Gordon, who is, he's deceased. Anyway, it is an excellent book. I have not read it all yet. I'm like a little over halfway through. And so I was trying something this morning with Ethan that I learned in the book, and it was called active listening. We were having a discussion about whether he'd be getting a haircut or not this Saturday, which it is happening, and he was suggesting that it not happen. So I was using active listening, and I have tried it, active listening, over the past months that I've been learning the techniques in this book. And basically it's just been, it's been a lot of times, in particular with Ethan. He's not so fond of this technique, and he has some critiques about it. So he lets me know. And so so I'm just like left with this, like that's not the way it worked in the book. Like, my kid is not supposed to like say, that doesn't, I know you're doing that, Mom, or, that doesn't work because of this. Like, they're not actually supposed to know the technique that I'm doing and then critique it on the spot. That's what like my idea is. But however, that is the case. That is what is happening in my household, in this particular dynamic I have with this particular child. That's my reality. So, come back around, Katie. So yes, and what I'm really discovering is that that's okay. And like, don't stop trying it, Katie. Just, keep tweaking it and keep trying it and seeing, does this fit and can it work a certain way? Because I actually think that in particular the active listening is excellent. It's like, it's basically just like really listening to somebody. who doesn't want to really be listened to, right? Like you really listen and you hear what they say and you reflect back. That's active listening. Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm not giving up on it, and I am learning the lesson. Keep going, and just know that it's never going to be graceful. It's most likely going to be clunky and awkward, but like, don't give up. Don't like throw all the books away. I mean, I've given books away. I've never like thrown them away, but I have been through months or years where I just was so fed up, and particularly with becoming a more effective parent, that I just was like, oh, forget it. Like, these books aren't working, you know. But I realize now, like, okay, it's like, don't blame the books. It's just, I'm in a learning process. Okay. Now, I'm going to shut the windows because I'm starting to hear my neighbors. The other part is, I love the books. Like, they're, honestly, I'm like so happy that at least this pile that I showed you, like, that every one of them was written and that these people did this work. I mean, it's amazing. And, you know, like, one book, and looking at one in particular, or a couple, are like very different styles than other ones. So, you know, it can be sometimes confusing. Like, we want to do a good job as a parent, right? Like, we want our kids to end up being healthy and functional. So it's like, I'm reading one book and it says one thing, and I'm reading another book and it says something very different. And yeah, so what I'm also learning through the years is that it's definitely not one size fits all. And yeah, and then also, again, like, that can be applied to just not just parenting, but regular human relationships. Like, it's not one size fits all, because we are all unique individuals with unique histories. And basically, what I'm really learning is, like, yes, read the books, get the information, because I don't remember it. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure it's someplace, sometime I learned it in a past life, or I can like tune in to all knowing, but I'm myself am not that tuned in yet. So I personally still, at my evolutionary stage, still need books. This is where I get a lot of information. So I read the books, and then I need to take some time, sometimes a month, sometimes years, to actually really digest information and like try it, and then go, no, it doesn't work, and then try it again. And then I'll find that it actually is kind of seeping into my parenting style. But yeah, basically, I feel that for me this works, like reading a bunch of books, and reading ones that, you know, are very, I'm going to show you the pile again, are very different. One is very different from another. And then just seeing what works for me, what works for my children, what works for my husband. I got a little off track there. Anyway, what I wanted to say also is that something that's really important I've discovered is, like, okay, I wrote it down, go look. I have two things that I've come to the conclusion, two very important parenting tools and or just human relating tools. Okay, I'm gonna look at these real quick. I'm still learning. It's awkward. See, learning is awkward. Okay. All right, so one is, like, just be in the moment. And that's not as easy as it sounds. So learn steadily and incrementally how to be in the moment we're in. Stay in the moment and listen to our heart and listen to our gut and use our mind, like the information that we have gained, the knowledge, the wisdom we have gained. And it's like we're in the moment and we like, whoa, we mix them all together. And then the next thing is just try. So with all of that you have access to, just try. Okay, I'm in the moment. This is what I feel. This is what's needed. Boom, try. And then you see the person's response. And you go, did that work? Did that not work? Okay, it worked. Great. Carry on. Didn't work. Okay, try something else. So that's one communication, I think, one of the most important communication tools. Be in the moment. Do what I just said. I'm not going to review it again. And then the other one is having patience for the learning process and having self-forgiveness and other forgiveness. I was thinking for a moment. I was going to talk about one other thing, but that's going to take me into a whole nother aspect, and I think that's another video. So I think I'm going to end there, and I hope you got something out of this. I know I did. Thank you.